So you're wondering how you can sell without being salesy. Is that possible? I'm here to tell you that yes, it very much is possible. I got introduced to this concept of consultative selling or solutions-based selling. It goes by various names. And I've noticed that over the years, as I've learned and honed this, it's really not selling at all. And this approach really, really works well with a lot of folks who really don't like that aggressive Grant Cardone in your face style of selling. And don't get me wrong, I think Grant Cardone is a brilliant marketer. Doesn't really wind my clock though in terms of the way that he sells. But again, hey, if it works for him and that speaks to his avatar, then I'm not going to say it's wrong. Obviously, he's very successful in business. But but I've got to sell in a way that's in alignment with not only my business vision, but my personal vision. And it's also going to be in alignment with my personal values and the core values of my business. And it's got to be in alignment with my client avatar and how they want to be sold to. And none of the avatar that I want to work with are going to want to feel like they're getting punched in the mouth and forced to buy something that they may not necessarily want to buy. And no offense, as I've got two businesses. I have a property management business and I have this business. The worst type of client for me, especially in the coaching world, is someone that I have to convince that they need me, right? That's why consultative selling for me works really, really well. So what do I mean by consultative selling or solutions-based selling? Well, basically, it follows similar elements of traditional selling, which would be obviously connecting with the customer, bonding with the customer, rapporting with them, developing a rapport with them, and learning really about them, learning about where they're at in life, what they're trying to accomplish, what is it at the end of the day, where are they trying to go. And that approach is really around asking a lot of questions, which is pretty much how I coach and how I teach, is I just learn to ask a lot of questions, become insanely curious about your avatar. Before I ever get into the sales process, what is it before the sales process? Well, you've got your lead generation. So if your lead generation is not in alignment with your selling, or this, whatever the sales conversation is, if you're attracting an avatar that isn't in alignment with your sales methodology, well, that's not going to work. If you want a more consultative selling approach and your lead generation over here is attracting a different type of avatar that's not going to be as responsive to a consultative selling approach, then that's not going to work, right? So you have to stop and think about that for a minute, and everything has to be in alignment. That's why when I talk about the VIP method, it's vision first, then infrastructure and process. Vision is specifically your personal vision, your business vision, then the infrastructure that you're going to put in place, your desks, your chairs, your software, like you've heard me say this before, that's in alignment with your business vision, that's in alignment with your personal vision, right? And then when you create the process is what you're going to learn. We're talking a little bit about process right now, right? When you're learning these processes, you're going to put these processes that are going to run on the infrastructure that you created that all stays in alignment with your vision for the future, right? Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Well, that's a more strategic approach. When I see like how to close any customer, or I see ads like, how to overcome objections, and that to me are tactics that may not necessarily be in alignment with your infrastructure that you're creating, and may certainly not be in alignment, again, like I said, with your vision or your values. So this is why you have to have a more aligned approach that's in integrity with one another. So if your lead generation is saying is attracting very significant driven individuals, and what do I mean by that? Like people who find making money might be the only thing that's important to them. I mean, they would sell their children, to make money. And we know people who are kind of like that, maybe not to that extreme, but they're putting everything else on hold so they can be financially successfre. They're ignoring their families, they're ignoring their marriages, they're ignoring their children, their spouses, they're ignoring their friends, all so they can go and make their money now, and then they'll they'll come back around later in life when they've got their money, living the good life, sitting on the beach, and they think that that's how that's going to work. And that was what I told myself too back in my mid-20s. Now I'm 50 now, and I see all the things that I did wrong back then, and man, I just wish I had to do it all over again. But the point is, I did that eventually figure it out. And having that, so let's bring this back into the selling conversation. So when I started talking about, solutions-based selling, I had to recognize that I was attracting, number one, the wrong type of avatar. So you really got to define who your avatar is. Who is it you want to work with? Who are you specifically trying to serve? And you might want to write this down. This is why when I start to consider who my avatar is, I really want to dial this down and actually give them a name. For me, it was Jim and Sarah. They were this metaphorical couple that I had made up, but they were Jim and Sarah are a Christian married couple. They are in business together. They have a contracting business. I like working with contractors, but I can work with pretty much anybody in any small business. And they've got 2 teenage kids, very time weary. They're running from softball practice to karate practice. They've got a dog named Flash. They have a date night on Wednesday, but their marriage doesn't seem to have the fire it once did. And if maybe they could just get a little bit more aligned, if they could just maybe get a little bit more time on their calendar where the spouse didn't feel so bad about working as much, or the spouse could never stop thinking about work because it was always so work focused. And in fact, the wife or the other spouse, right, whoever it is, might feel like if they didn't have work to discuss, they don't know that they would have anything to discuss. That, to me, is an avatar that I know how to work with and work with well. That's why, for you, I really want you to get dialed in terms of who that avatar really is. Who is it? Give them a name. Print off pictures of who that metaphorical person or couple or whoever that is that you really want to work with, no matter what your business is. And say, this is my ideal avatar. This is really who I'm trying to target. Why is that important? And this is what you're going to want to write down. When you're starting to think about having marketing conversations, which eventually will become sales conversations with your avatar, you're going to want to be able to solve 10 problems for them. Okay, now 10 problems. Now you're not, generally most businesses don't solve all 10 problems. But these are the questions that you want to start to ask. How do I help my ideal avatar make money? How do I help them make money? How do I help them save money? How do I help them save time? How do I help them avoid effort? And how do I help them escape pain? Those first 5 are really important in getting that clear. And when you get really clear on how all the different ways about how you help them make money, save time, avoid effort, and escape pain, when you can get really clear on those first 5, it's going to show up in your marketing, number one. And then when it comes to the sales conversation and you start asking them questions about, hey, what kind of struggles are you working with? Well, I really wish we could make more money. I really wish we had more time. I really wish, right? You've already worked through in terms of how you help them do that, right? You're not selling them yet. You're just asking them questions. You're like, yeah, I understand. These are clients, right? These are problems that a lot of my clients have about not having enough time or not having enough money, right? Or whatever that is. So when the other 5, by the way, are more comfort, better health, gain praise, feel more love, and increase their status. Once you get really clear on all 10 of those things, and you should have multiple things stacked up in each one of those 10 categories. Because when you start to have these conversations with them, right? And I'm saying metaphorical conversations. Sometimes the conversation is just one way when it's through your marketing. But when you do get them to start saying, hey, I saw your ad, I saw what you're about, or I see you around town, or whatever else it is. Maybe they hear about you through networking, whatever that is. But when you start to have that conversation with them, you can start to ask them. It's just a continuation of the same conversation that started in your marketing, in your lead gen. So when it gets to from just simply a lead to now a prospect, and that prospect is now in your sales part of the 4 core functions of business. Remember, lead gen, sales, operations, accounting. So now that they're transitioning from lead in your lead gen part now into the sales part function, the sales function of your business. So they move from the lead gen function to the sales function. Now it's just a continuation of the same conversation. So let's get to this solutions-based selling thing. The solutions-based selling is just simply asking them more of the same questions. So, tell me about what you got going on. Well, I've got this, I've got that, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, and it sounds like you are struggling making more money, or you are, you're looking for more comfort, you're looking for better health, maybe it's less stress, maybe it's to gain praise, make you feel like you're in, whatever that is, whatever your product is that helps them do that. So when you're in the selling process, it's just pretty straightforward. It's like, okay, tell me about what it is. Okay, great. Now, look, let me tell you a little bit about what it is that I do. Okay, so everything you talked about there is pretty much what it is that we do, that we solve these problems. Or at any point when it stops saying that this is not in alignment, now you can say, you know what, that's not really what it is that we do. Maybe I can send you over here to another resource. Or I'll be honest with you, I think what you're asking might be a little unrealistic. You're looking for an air conditioning unit that can cool this size house, but I'm going to be honest with you, the reason why yours conked out is because it's undersized, and it's working all the time. So if you're not going to spend the $8, $10, $12,000 or whatever it costs, to do this appropriately, my concern is that you're going to find an inferior system that's not going to last very long. It's just going to get overworked, and your electric bill is going to be high. You're going to end up paying for it in other ways, right? Or, hey, I'm a consultant, and I'm really concerned that what you're asking is really not the root problem, because as a consultant I can tell you X, Y, or Z. Right, or whatever it is, whatever the thing is that you can do. But this is why you're asking questions, so you can gauge, not sell them, not convince them that they need you. That's like the worst customer ever. But what you can do is educate them and say, okay, yeah, have you tried this? Or tell me some other things that you've tried to work through this problem. Okay, great. Yeah, actually everything that you do or that you talked about is stuff that we do. Right? And then you can start giving them some consultation, consultative type selling. Have you tried this? And maybe you can consider doing X, Y, or Z, giving them value. There was a coaching or selling system that said no free consulting. And I don't believe that. I don't think that is a good approach. I don't think that's the right approach. I think giving them something of value to prove that you're credible, and that is what builds trust the fastest. If you want to build trust quickly, you want to show elements of credibility, right? That's the fastest way to build trust, is to show elements of credibility. Show them, give them some really good nuggets. Hey, I'm gonna be your consultant for a second. I'm gonna put my consulting hat on here for a second, and just be your air conditioning consultant, or be your plumbing consultant, or be your roofing consultant, or whatever it is, whatever business that you happen to be in, and say, look, I've been studying this for a while now, or I've been doing this for a while now, or I've been, in this space for a while now. I'm in the real estate space for a while now, and here's what I can tell you. What you're asking might be a little bit tough, right? Or yeah, I see why you're struggling, and this may be why you're struggling, if I can point this out. Or here's how I might be able to help you out, right? By doing X, Y, or Z, right? You're actually giving them something of value. Here's an article that I wrote, right, for example, that actually addresses these things. Why don't you work through that, and let's touch base again maybe in a couple of days, right? This is what I'm talking about in terms of a consultative selling approach, because it establishes you as the expert. It establishes you as the person they're going to come back to, because you are the expert. You're the one with the knowledge. So again, this is one of the main reasons why I think this approach works really, really well for really any business. So let's just wrap this up and we'll put this video to bed. You've got to be in alignment. You've got to know who it is that you're working with. You've got to know who it is you're trying to attract. If you're trying to attract everybody, you will get everybody. And that really probably isn't what you want. But when you can get really clear in terms of the avatar, or as best as you can, what that individual looks like, or what those individuals look like, and not, I don't mean from a physical perspective, but where do they shop? Where do they hang out? What's their education level? How do they research online? When you start asking questions like that, now all of a sudden it's a lot easier to have that conversation with them. So getting really clear on your avatar is really, really important. Also getting really clear on your vision. Because where you're trying to go, you want to make sure that you're designing a business and attracting an avatar that's not going to suck the life out of you. That's in alignment. You want to design a business that's in alignment with your personal and business vision. So all of that stuff is really, really important. So beyond that, once you start to figure out who it is you want to work with, right? What your business vision is, what your personal vision and what your business vision is, who it is that you want to work with, that's your client avatar. And then you're going to start, again, remember the 10 reasons why people buy. Get that in front of, get that written down on a whiteboard. Again, make money, save time, avoid effort, escape pain, right? More comfort, better health, gain praise, feel more love, increase their status. Those 10 reasons why you can deliver all 10 of those things for them. And get really clear on it. Spend time on that. Spend a lot of time on that. Because when eventually you're going to come up with your offer that's going to really hit all those pain points for them, they're going to be lining up at your door. They're going to be wanting to throw money at you, right? So that is where I'm feeling if you could spend the time getting really clear on those areas, it's going to massively help you ask them really good questions around those 10 areas in terms of why they want to do business with you. Right? Hope you found this helpful. If you'd like to have a conversation with me, we can just hop on a quick 15 to 20 minute discovery call. It is not a sales call. It's just, I really just like to help people. I like to have conversations. You can head over to my website at markdolfini.com and just schedule a quick 15 to 20 minute session. You have access to my calendar. And all I ask is just please be timely, and it is on Zoom. So if you'd find value in that, love to have a conversation. All right. Have a great rest of your day. See you next time.